Good evening. Good evening, good evening. Hi folks. I can see me. I'm assuming you can hear me until somebody tells me they can't. So I'm just going to press on. Yeah, what have I been doing this last week? Last week I have been doing stuff, mainly taking time off work. Hi Mick. I've had a birthday, which was cool. The weekend I went to Warhammer World with a few of the guys. Watched some very good Age of Sigmar being played. A lot of fun was had. I have been working on my Tzeentch stuff, which is what I'm going to be doing tonight. So I'll show you what I have been doing. Well, you can see what I have been doing because this is all Tzeentchy stuff down here, but yeah. Let's pop these down here. This is about where I am with the mortal side of my Tzeentch army at the moment. I've got a lot of demons, but I've been fiddling around with these guys, just up to tabletop standard basically. It's just mostly contrast paint going on there. A few little details I need to pick out there, just to bring them up to sort of parade, but they'll do for the tabletop. I'm okay with them being like that. I spent a bit of time trying to figure out that sort of turquoise colour. It's come out a bit green, and I've decided I've made my peace with that. I'm okay with it. It wasn't quite what I wanted, but it's not too bad. This guy's the champion of the unit. Spent a little bit more time on him, but not much. These are all very rough and ready because I need them ready for the end of the month, or nearly the end of the month. This is the Zangor scheme I'm going to be using. This is making use of... I've actually got all my paints actually out and ready, which is unusual for me. I'm probably going to find out that I haven't got a paint that I do need, but you know, we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. This is the armour, particularly is Croxigore scales. with a, I think it was that one, toxic purple green stuff world colour shift over the top. Give a sort of weird iridescent purpley greeny overlay on the turquoise. And I think I'm probably going to end up going around the edges of those with gold, which I started doing with the champ, who is here. I think that adds another dimension to it. It's going to need a bit of, yeah, I'm probably going to ink over the top of that as well, just to get the shading right. But we're not going to be doing those today. We have a unit of Zangors which I'm going to be working on today. I'll just show you the discs that those guys, the Skyfires, ride around on. Oop, haven't done the underside of that. Need to get on that at some point. And I'm probably going to be doing steel talons and more stuff on the underside of that. I learned a lesson here, which is sub-assembly. Makes things a lot easier to paint. I've got another unit of these, so I'll sub-assembly the next lot, and that should be a lot easier to paint. I'm quite proud of this. This has got colour shift paints on it as well. What did I use for that? I don't know whether it was colour shift actually. Oh yeah, it is. I just don't know which one. That's kind of cool. I like that. Let's get those out of the way. Show off the other thing I've been working on, which you will have seen if you've been following my Instagram, because of course all of you follow my Instagram. And that's oh, what's his name? Kairos Fate Waver, I think, is what I'm making him as. But he'll do as a greater demon of Tzeentch at a pinch. He's nowhere near finished. I need to do a lot more to him. There's just detail for days on this thing, but I'm quite liking the colours that I've got going on with him. I think he's going to look very good. Nice centerpiece. What else have I got going? I was reading the Disciples of Tzeentch battle tome. Thank you, Kim. I was reading this Disciples of Tzeentch battle tome, the existing one, earlier on today, and there are an awful lot of things that can turn other things into Chaos Spawn, and I don't actually have many. I did have a couple, but they were made for Nurgle, not Tzeentch, so they didn't look right. And one was painted as one of the first ever solo Hammer games I played was between my Word Bearers, I think, and Grey Knights. Grey Knights Codex had just come out and I hadn't quite figured out how to play them, so they got absolutely pagged. Thrashed. Pagged is a live roleplay word, which many people won't know. And what happened to the chief librarian of the Grey Knights was he got turned into a Chaos Spawn, and this guy was originally a silvery blue colour and was that very Chaos Spawn. I did a little bit of conversion work on it. You're right, you can see the Nurgle influence on the back because there's a plague bearer moulded into the back of that one. But I reckon that's probably the ultimate insult for a plague bearer to be turned into a Chaos Spawn of Tzeentch. So I'm quite comfortable with that. But what makes these guys stand out is if because I don't have any sculpting on these things, if I take the black masking tape off, they've actually got, oh God, what are they called? Gambachons or something. Little glass eyes. I've got that one there in his hand because he doesn't have any other eyes. And this guy, yeah, So it needs a bit more painting around. But that looks quite cool as well, I think. Very striking. So I shall continue working on them at some point. Might do a little bit more today, I don't know. Because what I have lined up for doing today is these guys. Zangor. Now, some of you may recall that I was asking for advice on Zangor colour schemes, and I had 4 Zangors which were not Games Workshop official, and I can only find 3 of them at the moment. I was asking for advice on colour schemes, and I think we ended up more or less with that one. So that's more or less where I'm going to be going with it, but leaning more into the ones that the scheme I'm going to be using for the Skyfires. So I have my paints all lined up and ready. I'm going to be using contrast paints because I'm unit painting, speed painting as it were. So a nice brush there. And for this we will be using he says, no, I've got all these out. Oh yeah, skin is Pilar Glacier. That's that sort of pale blue. Where'd it go? Was it you? No, naturally it wasn't you. It was you. That's Pilar Glacier. That's what it looks like. So the skin is going to be Pilar Glacier. I'm going to be using Croxagore scales for the armour. Going over that with the Toxic Purple, as I showed. The gold, I will be using Vallejo gold. This is a very pale gold, but that works for Tzeentch. And I'm going to be adding various accents and things with Aethematic Blue and Berserker Bloodshade and Doomfire Magenta and all kinds of other crazy stuff. So, I'm going to get cracking with that, I think. Let's get these guys lined up so I can actually production line them. We are going to start with... I tend to start with the lowest texture on the model and then work outwards. So I'll be starting with the skin. So that's a mutant. So I might do something a little bit different with him. There's the other mutants, so we'll put those aside for the time being. Where are we? Pilar Blue, Pilar Glacier. Anyone know what Pilar is? I certainly don't. Kind of reminds me of Philo Blue, which is an actual colour in art paints. And doesn't look anything like this. I know some of you have been submitting pictures and things to me on Discord with a view to me critiquing them at some point. I haven't quite got round to making a video for that, but I will. Critiquing, that is, not criticising. There is a difference. Critiquing is always positive. Criticism, not so much. So, I don't know how you guys feel, but I always feel a little bit sort of set upon if I receive unsolicited critique on my miniatures. And I think that's probably a thing. I find it's generally best practice to avoid providing critique on miniatures unless it's actually been asked for. because I mean, certainly in the early days I was umming and ahhing about whether to post anything at all on the internet, and the thought of someone coming along and saying, for want of a better phrase, you missed a bit, really did put me off. So I tend to operate on the principle of not offering critique unless it's actually asked for. Unless it's something like, yeah, I really like that, I like the way you've done X. But that's the way I'd phrase it. I wouldn't say, I like the way you've done X, would you like some advice on it? Which again would kind of imply that, yeah. Or I like the way you've done X, I would have done it this way. Again, probably best avoided. I find if people want critique, they'll generally ask. Other than that, the thumper rule applies, really. If you genuinely don't like what somebody's done, you don't have to say anything. You really don't. You ain't got anything nice to say, don't say anything. That's the thumper rule. From Bambi. In which you do not see Bambi's mother die. You don't. That is not a thing that happens on screen. Despite everyone remembering it, that did not happen. Oh, what's that called? What's a false memory? Oh, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. It's just something effect. It's that thing when you remember something from your childhood and it just was not that way. It was never that way. Like the logo of a product, or the name of a product, or how something was spelled, or something that you was growing up believing one thing was true and it just never was. Oh, it's going to bug me now. It's the something effect. Hiya CA, how you doing? Mandela effect. That was it. That was it. Mandela effect. It was called the Mandela effect after Nelson Mandela. Over the because there seems to be this widespread belief that Nelson Mandela died in prison, which of course he didn't. Yet everyone, or a lot of people, remember him dying in prison. And yet we know that he didn't. He was released and was president of South Africa for a long time. So he most certainly did not die in prison. But yeah, that's why it's called the Mandela effect. I mean, there are loads of examples of it. Usually related to, like I say, products and what they were called and things like that. How things were spelled. Fruit Loops. Kellogg Fruit Loops. Was it with a Nestle Fruit Loops? I don't remember. Either way, Fruit Loops. Was it F-R-O-O-T or F, the normal spelling of fruit? Chances are you remember one and it's wrong. I can't remember off the top of my head which is correct. I think it's always been fruit spelled correctly. Loops, not F-R-O-O-T. Ooh, well, that's weird, Chris. I don't know how that happened. It's possibly because just as I was looking to start the stream tonight, everything, like literally everything from graphics drivers, OBS, which is the streaming software I use, the stream, oh Mick, thank you. I was just about to say the streaming software that I use, Stream Elements, the overlay for tipping and what have you. It wasn't showing. It needed to update, and so far it hasn't done so. It's failed so far. So thank you for the tip. I don't know whether it did animate. If it didn't, I apologise. Not much I can do about that. I will keep trying to update it. It certainly didn't shout at me like it normally does to say you tipped. But thank you very much. Yeah, everything decided to update at once, or decided it needed to update, one after the other. OBS decided to update, then Stream Elements, and then graphics drivers decided, the Stream Elements and OBS decided they needed. Oh, it did it? Good stuff. They needed the latest graphics drivers, so that required me to download the latest version of the NVIDIA drivers and their loader and all that nonsense. So yeah. So it's entirely possible there were multiple versions of the stream up on YouTube. Stuff went south. So yeah, Disciples of Tzeentch, I'm kind of looking forward to playing these guys. The new battle tome is coming out for them soon. Obviously, I'm not one of the privileged few who has access to pre-release copies or anything like that, so I can't, and I wouldn't, because I'd be under NDA. I wouldn't let anything drop about that anyway. So I'm going on the current battle tome. And they look really fun to play. Quite mobile, which is why I've got a lot of the. I've got some of the Skyfires. I don't know whether to make half of them up as Skyfires and half of them up as Enlightened on discs, or just make them all up as Skyfires. I'm thinking all Skyfires, and just have them zipping around the battlefield shooting things. Because this is what I picked up at Games Workshop, courtesy of Mick. Thank you very much, Mick. And this guy zooms around with the Skyfires, buffing them, so that's why I got him. Or her, we don't judge. Although all of these do seem to be rather male. I'm not that enamoured with this contrast paint. It is a paint with very limited use, I think. I can see where they were going with it, to make a sort of an icy blue, but I think there are other colours that probably do it better. But I went with this colour because I wanted a pale blue, almost white which is what you end up with. And I won't be leaving it at that, I'll be doing more to it. Adding in shading with purple and what's this stuff? Yeah, tar and blue around the edges, just to add a bit of contrast, a bit more contrast. But most of the contrast on the model is going to come from the greeny turquoise armour, which I'm thinking of making the army theme for the mortal half anyway. The demons are very sort of... Have I shown you my demons? Oh yeah, white dragon, yeah. Yeah, I can see that, yeah. Yeah. It might also work on a winter base. Like if you got some texture paint down and painted it white and then put this over the top and then dry brushed white over the top of that, might get some interesting. Have I got something I can actually... No, I haven't, unfortunately. I was going to experiment with that, and I may yet, because I've got, the other thing I've got, birthday present wise, was this chap. My one and only Space Wolf, and I have an idea for the base, so I won't be painting him tonight. I have things I need to collect together for the base for that guy. That was from Wolf Corgi, so thank you very much to him. I say one and only Space Wolf. He's not actually my one and only Space Wolf. He's my one and only Marine that's actually moulded as a Space Wolf. I do have another Space Wolf that I painted. But that was a regular Marine. Painted as a Space Wolf. Right. And on to these ones. Doing something weird with these, but for the time being let's get the blue laid down. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're enjoying my Instagram, Chris. I also have a Discord, by the by, not necessarily for the benefit of anyone in watching the stream at the moment, but I know I have more viewers than I have in my Discord channel at the moment. The details for the Discord channel are in the channel description, my YouTube channel description. Feel free to join. I try to put updates and things relating to the YouTube channel in there. A lot of you will know that I also post quite an awful lot on Say Hi Paul's Discord as well, so I keep both of those updated with what's going on with my stuff. But I'm aware that one or two of you won't be Say Hi Paul members. And it's a good way of keeping up with what I'm doing and what I'm intending to do with the channel going forward. So come one, come all. Let's start a community. Right, what am I going to do with that? Probably not pile our blue. These brushes are... I mean, they were only cheap things off Amazon. They really were cheap. It was like, got 100 of them for like a £5, so they don't last long. But they're okay for dry brushing and things. I don't particularly care if they die. Right, okay. If we're leaning onto the turquoisey blue, turquoisey green for the army colour, what I'll do is I will paint the banner that colour. It's a really nice colour, this. I'm not even sure it's one of the new ones. It might be one of the old ones. Which would follow if it's not one of the new ones. But that look really nice on Alpha Legion as well, wouldn't it? Beautiful. Yeah, Tzeentch, painting Tzeentch has got me leading into colours that I wouldn't ordinarily touch, which is a good thing. My Tzeentch guys are a lot less grimdark than I normally go for, because I haven't quite figured out how to do them grimdark and that's still very colourful. I'm sure there is a way. I'm sure I will figure it out eventually. But for the moment, oh, Scooby. So they are very colourful, especially the demons. Which I'm sure I have shown you the horrors. It's the job of a couple of minutes to show you again. Oh, Leviathan Dread. Looks like a good model, that. I like the look of them. Right. Where's a good demon? Oh yeah. There's one good demon. So, bags of colour going on there. So that's the Herald. What else have we got? Fish out a blue horror. So there's a lot more colour than I normally use going on with these guys. And pink horror. Ah, iridescent horror. There we go. Who is actually iridescent, because I happen to have the page to make him iridescent. Yeah, that's where that's going. What else have we got going on here? Oh yeah, I need to do something with the banner on that guy. That's nowhere near bright enough. Yeah. And endless spells. That's quite cool, wasn't it, that one? That's mostly airbrush with the new contrast. We've got some screamers. Screamers, or E, or whatever noise they make. I don't know. And yeah, I've not finished my flamers. Anywhere near finished my flamers. So yeah, that's what my demons look like. So with any luck, these guys should look grimdark by comparison, I guess. Alright. Pull my chair in a bit. I apologise for the creaking. It's a rather elderly chair. But then, I am also rather elderly these days. Right, okay. Just painting over the armour. Oops. What I said about this not being one of the newer colours, it's certainly formulated like one of the newer ones, which is no bad thing. What I would eventually like to do for AOS is have a massive four-way scrap between Disciples, Maggotkin, Hedonites, and whatever the corn ones are called. Blood letters? Blood. More blood of corn. I think that could be quite fun. But working out four-way rules for Age of Sigmar could be colourful, shall we say. So it doesn't automatically lend itself to four-way fights. I believe there are rules for three-way in one of the books. Blades of corn. There we are. Not but. Blood, corn, blades, bloody blades, corn. But I think that could be quite fun. A nice objective in the middle and a massive scrap, four-way scrap. Figure out a way of filming that as well. That would be really cool, but my setup at home isn't great, and you can't film at Games Workshop for some reason. I've got no idea why. You would have thought but I guess they haven't got any control over the content at that point, have they? Not every gamer is a good ambassador for the hobby, let's put it that way. Certainly not every streamer or every YouTuber. Some of them are very not good ambassadors for the hobby. I like to think I am, but yeah, there are some. Yeah. I suppose I have my moments of not being particularly good ambassador. Yeah, Chris, that's about where I am at the moment. I know that we're getting a Disciples of Cain? Oh gosh, that was a blast from the past. A Disciples of Tzeentch book is on the horizon. Very near horizon. like next couple of weeks. In fact, it might be the next thing out, because the oh, what's the box set called? That's just dropped. The ones with Lumineth versus Tzeentch. And hot on the heels, I suspect, will be so when that drops and I can afford it, I will get that. Tell you what though, affording this hobby is I suspect it's going to become even more and more of a problem as time goes on, for reasons that will stray into politics, so I won't touch on them too much. In fact, no, it won't. It's this cost of living thing, which isn't directly party politics, but it could be handled a bit better, I suppose. Yeah, the Demon book would be useful. I suspect the there's enough in the AOS ally rules at the moment to allow you to play demons quite comfortably alongside their mortal chaos counterparts. So I'm not as desperate for the demon book for my my Tzeentch forces, even though I do have demons in the Tzeentch forces. I'm not particularly desperate for the upgraded flamers or what have you, but no, 40k really did need the demon book and the changes that brought in. And I really do hope that is the shape of things to come for 10th, in that you can include a certain percentage of your force as coming from another force that is that would naturally be allied with them. So if you wanted, this is me completely speculating, I have no insider information at all. So if you had a guard army, for example, and you wanted to field some sisters or space marines or what have you, get 25% of your points that you could spend on allied forces without taking penalties. I don't think we'll see a return to souping. I think people got far too frightened of that. Yeah, like second day. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it was. You could take a portion of points. I think it was 25%, wasn't it? Or something close to it. You could take a portion of your points that would make sense to ally with your army as allied forces. It wasn't so problematic in second, though, I will say, because second you didn't have all of the you didn't have so many army specific rules. So while you could soup, you couldn't min-max doing that, not as easily. I'm using mostly Games Workshop products on these. Oh my gosh, that's unusual for me. So that means, I mean, I've got a spare Zangor kicking around. What I might do is produce a tutorial video, short format. Should be nice and in time for the Disciples of Tzeentch box book. Do need to do more short format stuff. I don't know why you folks watch the live stream. I mean, a genuine question. Why do you guys watch the live stream? Is it? I mean, you're not really picking up tips and such. Not in there. Well, you wouldn't make a point of watching the live stream to pick up tips. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, certainly from my own perspective, if I'm looking for a technique or something, or advice how to do a particular technique, I'll look for a short format video. There's some more hobbying. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So I think if I did some more short format, 15-20 minute videos, I can lean into the tutorial scene. I mean, I've got a few out there, but I sort of fell out of it because it takes an awful lot of editing. Editing does take an awful lot of time, and I don't have a lot of time at the moment with work and things. I mean, I could do it rough format, sort of film it, stitch it together and stick it up, but and while there's a certain charm to that, I think, I have invested in a subscription for some editing software, and I'd like to get a little bit of use out of it. I need to learn how to use it first. And again, you know, that's what YouTube's for. Yeah, Mick. Yeah, there's an awful lot to escape from at the minute. I will give you that. Oh, it's nice to hear. It's always nice to know why people show an interest in things. Not from any sort of market research point of view, although that's useful as well, because at the end of the day I am trying to build a product, albeit very slowly. But no, just generally, because if I know what you're here for, I can at least attempt to provide it. And even if this becomes, you know, a handful of friends hanging out together whilst hobbying, then that's cool too. I'm content to stream, and if you're getting benefit from it, so much the better. Of course, if anyone's tuning in, well, not live, I'd be equally curious to know why it is you watch my streams when they're not live. So if you want to drop that and drop me a comment, I'd be very interested to know. Motivation, yeah, motivation, oh my gosh, yeah. Well, that in itself makes everything worthwhile, if I can be motivating. I've got to say, doing the stream motivates me, otherwise I probably just wouldn't. I wouldn't do nearly as much painting as I do. But I feel not obligated. Obligate is the wrong word. But I like to have at least something new, as if I haven't been, doing other things like going to Warhammer World or going to Italy or whatever else. I like to have at least something new to show and tell, as it were, every week. And having that driving force actually makes me do it. I think Mick could do this. I think Mick could do a stream. I think Mick should do a stream. Or maybe if I can find out, I might get Mick on the stream here. How's that sound, Mick? I'm sure you could hold your tongue for that long. I'm sure you could. I mean, you've met me in person, you know I swear like a sailor. If I can hold it together. But I don't always hold it together. I have let a few things slip over the months. I'm sure if I can hold it together and keep things PG-13, I'm sure you can as well. Quite like to get Paul on at some point, and there is a way of doing it over Zoom and Skype and various things, but I haven't looked too much into it. It takes a bit of setting up. PG-13? Yeah, it is mostly, isn't it? I don't really drop that many swear words, do I? I mean, there's some... I drop innuendos every now and again. Innuendo? I think it's PG-13. Why wouldn't it be cool? Why wouldn't it be PG-13? Go on, Jamie, I need answers. Or he's suspecting my rating's lower, it should be you or something. 12 or... Yes mate, they do swear an awful lot more than I do. But then, this is me doing my streaming. This isn't me in person. As Mick can attest. A few of you can attest, actually, if you've met me. Oh, you know what I'm not painting, and I should be? I should be painting the shields. Oh well, we'll go back. We'll come back and do them. Yeah, I mean, you are allowed an F-bomb, but I don't see that as something that can happen, not something that must happen, if you know what I mean. I like to stream as if my mother's listening. My mother doesn't listen, but... UA? Yeah, that's yeah, Mick, that would be fun. That really would be fun. Yeah, I could. I mean, you'd never see anything what people are painting because the screen. I could quarter it, and we could do that. But you know, like I say, you'd never see anything because the individual screens would be too small, subdivided. But you know, that's not a reason not to do it, and it would be fun. It would be fun. You get someone like Paul would be nice, but I think Paul's busy on a Wednesday night. But yeah, Mick, Morton Joe, well, anyone really. If Morton Joe came on, you could see how mercilessly I tease him about everything. And he reckons I said, live on air, that he's a good lad really, but I'd never tell him. I don't remember saying that. That is not a thing that happened. Yeah, UA. I'm comfortable with UA. Yeah. But I say PG-13 because every now and again I might screw up. Thing is, on YouTube, if you swear too often, you tend to get the algorithm gets upset with you. And it stops showing your video to people. So unless you've already got quite a large following, like oh, I don't know, Liam Dempsey, he drops an awful lot of swearing in his streams, but he's got quite a large following already. So, but unless you've already got that, you tend to lose out by swearing. That was Liam Dempsey for easy example. Valrak, yeah. Valrak's another one. There are others. There are plenty that swear on their streams. And it's absolutely fine, but it's not me. That's not my style. I think if I would style myself after any particular content producer on YouTube, and this is, you'd really need to squint. Brent from Goobertown Hobbies, I think he's got exactly the right attitude. Exactly the right attitude. He's chill. He's always happy. I'm not always happy, but I like to think I'm always chill. Yeah, he's got, yeah, he's approachable, accessible, friendly, and genuinely enthusiastic about the hobby. And I think if I can project even a fragment of that, I'm doing quite well. I believe the correct response to that is, who is Valrak? Yeah, if I could do a collab with Goobertown Hobbies or something like that, that would set me up. I'd be very happy then. Not only would it do good things for the channel, but I think it would be good fun. He's got exactly the right attitude. So if anyone knows him, if anyone wants to leap on his channel and suggest that he does a collab with me of some sort, I don't know. No, don't do that. Except maybe do. I don't know. Do what you like. I'm not the boss of you guys. Oh, this guy's the squad leader. Right, okay, he needs a little bit. He's got a helmet. So I appreciate this is probably not that fascinating for you, watching me apply contrast paint to miniatures in a sort of factory kind of way. Or maybe it is, I don't know. Maybe it's exactly what you need. Something you don't necessarily need to watch particularly, but you can watch and just have one in the background while I chunter away. Looking up and seeing folks chatting about Valrak. Yeah, I've not really watched much of his stuff. It's not really my thing. For no particular reason. I mean, he's not objectionable as a person, I don't think. I don't dislike anything about his streams, it's just I'm not particularly interested in rumours and leaks and things, or whatever the topic du jour is that because he's prolific. The man is prolific. I think he streams pretty much every day, if not every day, then every other day. But it is usually about leaks and rumours and latest releases and things, which is fine. That's what he does. Rumours don't particularly interest me, even if they're true, because until they're proven true in some sort of hard paper kind of format, you can't really make use of the rumours anyway. I mean, let's say there was a rumour going on that Space Marines were going up to 3 wounds. You couldn't really base anything off that. Not saying there is a rumour going around that Space Marines are going up to 3 wounds, but if there were. Yeah, it literally is his job. He's I'm not even going to say living the dream. I don't think I would want to be producing content full time. I think, especially not hobby content, I think that would get old very quickly, and I would lose what love I have for the hobby in fairly short order. I would like to be in a position where I'm bringing in enough to keep me in miniatures, or at least subsidise my miniatures purchasings. That's where I'd like to be. I'm not quite there yet, although mixed generous donations are very much appreciated. But no, I wouldn't want to do this full time. I really wouldn't. I admire anyone who can do this full time, but that is not my ambition. You need to do it properly, I think. You need to sink quite a bit of money up front, or have a lot of stuff already. Like Paul, for example, he's got stuff that he's had for years and years and years, and built up over years and years and years. So he absolutely can do what he does, because he's got enough to keep the bat reps interesting. I couldn't really do bat reps per se, because I've got the one board, the one set of scenery, and I've got a limited selection of armies, so it would get fairly dull fairly quickly. I mean, in my case, I can't even monetize properly until I've got 1,000 subs and 4,000 viewing hours, and I'm not producing the right content to do that. I would need to be churning out, like really churning out, quite polished short format content, not the weekly live stream that I'm doing. Or else get a shout out on somebody else's channel fairly regularly. But ideally both. Well, that's possibly an option, Vic. Yeah, we could do that. Have to have a think about when, though. Both busy dudes. I could certainly do some solo hammer ad hoc every now and again, but I couldn't really make a regular thing of it. Oh, shields, right, okay. Shield, 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 shield. See what's going on with that shield. It's got some detail on it. I think I'm going to need to pick out with gold. Oh, I can see. Yeah, there we are. Wait for the paint to dry. You can actually see what's going on. It's me being impatient again. These are also models I should have done with an airbrush and sub-assembly. Because these shields would have been a lot easier to paint. Well, the models themselves have been a lot easier to paint without the shields, and the shields would have been a lot easier to paint if they weren't on the models. Because whilst I can get to the outside, the inside's a bit more of a fiddle. I don't know why I made the decision to not do sub-assemblies. I clearly wasn't thinking. Sub-assemblies, if you're not familiar with the term, is the idea of painting miniatures in sections and assembling them after painting, just so you can get to the bits you need to get to. Oh, I know what else I need to paint. And that's the sheaths for the knives. That shouldn't take too long, and then I will be able to change colour. And there will be much rejoicing. Glutton for punishment. Yeah, that's me. I do like these Tzeentch miniatures, but there's just so much fiddliness on them. Oh my word, so much fiddly. Yes I do. Just let me finish the colour that I'm doing, and then remind me if I forget. I will show you exactly what I do if I need to strip a miniature. There is a particular product I use, which I'm sure somebody will point out. I will be in a position to show you, although I won't open it because it looks pretty gross inside at the moment. I need a new pot. But it's a brilliant product. It's available on Element's website, Element Games. There's a link you can use for Element Games in my... That's it, buy a strip 20, yeah. There's a link for an affiliate link for Element Games in my channel description, and they will deliver that to the States, I do believe. It's just Games Workshop stuff they won't deliver. But I will show you what it is. Right, here's a bit more of a clean. Look, I cleaned this with Biostrip 20, in fact. Right. I mean, you know how grotty this thing was, and now you can almost see what it was. And it's still a little bit grotty, but it was only going at it half-assed, as it were. But Biostrip 20 looks like this, and you can use it in a number of ways. You can either dip your miniature in it and then set it aside and leave it for like 20 minutes, half an hour, and then run it under cold water and take a toothbrush to it and all the paint will come off. Or you can paint the Biostrip 20 onto the miniature and leave it for 20-30 minutes and repeat the process. It's good for plastic, it's good for metal. Be very cagey about using it with resin though. Certainly don't leave resin in Biostrip for any kind of length of time, because it can react with the resin and goes weird. You can absolutely use it with resin, but be careful with it. The product itself is non-toxic. You could probably eat it, but I wouldn't recommend it. So it's non-toxic, eco-friendly, doesn't smell much. Doesn't smell of anything nasty anyway. Yeah, I mean it smells a bit, but it's not obnoxious. Yeah, Biostrip 20. I've heard of other people using Dettol and all kinds of other crazy stuff, but no, Biostrip 20 is where it is at. Certainly in the UK. There might be better products in America, I don't know. But to my colonial cousins, I would recommend getting hold of the Biostrip 20 and seeing how it compares to your weird green liquids that you use over there. What? Gloves? No, you don't use gloves. Non-toxic, completely non-toxic. I mean, use gloves in the interest of cleanliness, but there's nothing harmful about it. Really? Okay. Perhaps you've got a slight allergy to it then. I certainly never had a problem with it, and I don't use gloves. Individual mileage may vary, I guess. I mean, obviously don't leave it on your hands for any length of time, but I'm assuming regular people wash their hands fairly regularly, especially in this day and age. Wash your hands immediately after use, it should be fine. Unless you're specifically allergic to it, I guess. Right, changing colour. Changing of the colour it is changing. And also the... No, it isn't, not quite. Oh. No, that thing's going to be gold, so that's going to be fine. Right. The next colour we'll be using is a shade paint. And it is Mortarian Grime. This stuff is fantastic. He's got an armoured skirt, so that's not going to be a good example. He's got an armoured skirt, so that's not a good example either. Again with the armoured skirt. Ah, there's some cloth. Slap that on there. And you instantly run that down the side there as well. Instantly get a warm white colour, or warm off-white. is how I'm doing the loincloths and cloth elements of my Tzeentch army. Oh, I've missed a bit of armour there. I'll have to go back and get that in a bit. You see on the back there. I used to use Skeleton Horde for this, but you get a much nicer, much cleaner white using this with a single pass. So I now use the Skeleton Horde for things like horns and bones and things. Oh, they've got loincloths on the back. Well, they wouldn't be loincloths on the back, would they? But they're butt cloths. Tzeentch butt cloths. Now available on Amazon. They don't have a butt cloth. You don't have a butt cloth. No butt cloth there. He has a butt cloth. Yeah, Sword's Iron Grime is a shade, but it functions an awful lot like a very thin thin contrast paint. It's not as runny as the shades of old. In fact, what it is an awful lot like, slightly thinner than, but it performs an awful lot like this stuff, which is what I used on the skin. So you get a slight tint, and it runs where you need it to run, but it behaves itself. It's well mannered. And cloth, bit of cloth. Tzeentch butt cloths from Blammo. Now there's a reference you guys might or might not get. Slug, it's log, it's big, it's heavy, it's wood. I think Nick's probably old enough to get that. Oh, it's probably contemporary with a few of you. Either that or I just feel really, really old now. There we go, Ren and Stimpy. I forgot you were watching, Kev, yeah. Log from Blammo. Ren and Stimpy was weird. And delightful at the same time, but definitely weird. I'm not really sure what... Oop, clunk. There we are. It was going to happen at one point. It's happened now. And we can all put that behind us and pretend it didn't. I'm not entirely sure what other cartoon series in this day and age has quite the same energy as Ren and Stimpy. It was certainly unique, I think.
men hum or whistle when they feel on top of the world.
anarchic. I'm just doing the handles of the knives now before I forget. It's already been done. Right, that was one of these miniatures that hadn't got some turquoise on his butt. Was it that one? No. No. Nope. Was it? Yes, it was that one. There we go. Turquoise for the armoured butt flap. Right, give that a good wash. And now, oh gosh, everything's not lined up anymore. Yeah. And now we are going to go in with the skeleton horde for all those horns and things. Oh, seriously, what did we do before contrast paints? What did we do? You know, one of these days, fairly soon I think, I am going to paint something that doesn't use any contrast paints, just to prove to people that I can do it. Because they're a fantastic tool. You're a fantastic tool. No, they are a fantastic tool. But I do feel, as such, it can be quite easy to rely on them, and you can end up losing some of the technical skills you employ when using paints other than contrast. And that is not at all to suggest that they are cheating or anything like that. I will not look down on anyone that uses contrast paints, because they are a tool and they are to be used, and they are a very, very good tool. But I like to remind myself that I don't need them necessarily, unless I'm speed painting like this, in which case, yeah, they're 100% very useful. They're also very good through airbrushes, which is how I did all the basic colour transitions on this guy. That was all contrast paint through an airbrush. So you can do fancy stuff with them. And the other thing I do with them, which is not what I've done on these guys, is doing the whole black primer and then a light colour zenithal, and then use the contrast paints to tint, which is very effective. And I know you've seen that because I've done that on the channel 100%. The white zenithal over, or the light colour zenithal over black, and then contrast paint gives you that extra depth of shadow and light value. It just makes things pop so much more. But it also tends to give things kind of a grimdark look, which is, well, if that's what you're looking for, that's great. But I wanted to maybe not do quite so grimdark on these, so I could employ some bright colours. I might use some of the couple of the test miniatures here to see if I can grimdark it down a bit, figure out some techniques, but I think these guys look good as they are. There's some metal on those horns. Right, okay, we won't forget about that. Ooh, he's got a little bit of turquoise on his horn there. That will not stand. I'll sort that out in a moment. Let's fish out the wraithbone. Come on, wraithbone. Oh, hate these pots. They're just built to dry out paints. The wraithbone. Pop that over the turquoise on the horn there, and that'll blend straight in. You'd never know. So I don't know what, if anything, you're going to learn from this particular stream other than how to use contrast paints, I guess. And how to strip miniatures. And I guess the process of painting a unit of miniatures, which is different in many painting a unit of miniatures for the tabletop, that is, rather than for competition, because the process is quite different and the tools you use are quite different. But if you're looking fast and dirty and okay looking, you can't really go far wrong with contrast paints. Or indeed the Army Painter speed paints, which are just as good, but you get a slightly different finish on them. They tend to be a lot more matte. And as I'm sure you are quite well aware, hey Richie, there is an issue, well, I call it an issue, it's not really an issue once you're aware of it, you can actually make use of it, with the Army Painter speed paints, so that they have a tendency to reactivate, which isn't always what you want, but if you're aware that it happens, you can actually make use of it for blending and such. It's a useful thing. Oh, you're that rich. Hi, Rich. So when you just clock the avatar. I was going to do something interesting with that, wasn't I? It involved blending. Oh, I just realised what's going on with that guy's head. It's not two heads, it's split. Split head. No, wrong. Right. What are we going to do with that? I think we're going to have to go with the Berserker Blood shade. Get things looking a bit meaty in there. Right, I think we're edging inexorably towards metallics, but not quite. I don't think we're quite there yet. Let's do that Berserker Blood shade first. Yeah, right? That doesn't sound good, but you know, Tzeentch. Get the Berserker Blood shade on there. Maybe the idea is it's mid mutation. I think that might be the idea. Oh, it's got that crazy eye. Ugh. Get the other one going on as well. This Berserker Blood shade's another paint I swear by. Not a lot of use for it, but in the right sort of situations like this, where there's something nasty and biological going on, it's really very useful. It's also very useful for things like infected flesh around pustules and things if you're painting Nurgle and what have you. I haven't got a good example of that to hand, unfortunately. All my Nurgle stuff is away. Mix a bit of Drakenhof in there, and you can get a decent bruise colour as well, which is always good. Get a bit of skin tone variation. Oh, it's gruesome, yeah. But, you know, a little bit of grimdark. Even in AOS goes down quite well. Well, they do seem to have beaten a lot of that out of it. Okay. So he's got a tentacle mane, so I'll put him to side for a second. Feathers, feathers, tentacle mane. Feathers, kind of feathers, tentacle, feathers, feathers, feathers. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Right. What are we going to do? Oh yeah, right. That's what we're going to do with that. A Luxon purple going on those feathers. This is another really vibrant. I don't know whether this is a single pigment one, but it really does pop. So let's pick a good one with some feathers. This is one of the new ones. I think it's a nice accent colour, and you can blend that in with, I'll probably like use a bit of either Druchii Violet's quite good, or I could even use a Tyrian Blue to get more blue blending going on, but it's lovely as an accent colour. See if there's anything else I can pick out that might be cool with that colour. No. Oh, right, okay. The other thing I use Berserker Bloodshade for is and yes, let's use him. You just run it slightly wet into the eye sockets, and it kind of sells as a glow, kind of sells as sort of eyeshadow, but it creates that contrast and creates another little level of interest. It works really well. And again around the mouths as well. So we'll do that, because I'm conscious that time is a ticking. I'd like to get a lot further along than I actually am, but I think, and we'll be getting on to needing the metallics at the moment. No, not a full demon army. These are Zangor, they're not demons, they're beastmen. I do have some demons in the army. Any excuse to show off this guy again, which will be horribly out of focus. But you'll probably have seen this guy on my my Instagram. You get a much better view of him there. He's on a turntable and he's sort of spinning around and with fitting music. No, I'm going for Disciples of Tzeentch, which is a bunch of cultists and Zangor and demons. So not just purely demons. You see how this blood shade just, it tints a little bit, but it does run into the crevices. Gosh, this thing really is disturbing when you get to look at it. I don't know whether you can see that the eyes actually pop through to the other side. Yeah, that's kind of wrong. I really don't usually bother with eyes, unless it's in some sort of simple way like this. I mean, this is the sort of thing I'd do on. I think I need to hand. Have I? No, I really haven't. I've got my test plasma in here, but that's Berserker blood shade as well, just over the skin there. But yeah, it can be useful for Chaos Space Marine faces and creating weird skin tones. See you, Kev. When I'm done with this, I will get back to the actually, this works really well as a red eye. Ooh, okay. I'm doing this more often. I'm expecting some orcs to show up because I'm subscribed to the Imperium magazine. So when they show up, I dare say I'll be putting red or red. I don't want to call them realistic because orcs aren't real, but I do a more grimdark style of orc than most people do, with more realistic flesh tones and everything like that. But the eyes do kind of have to be red, and I think I found the new thing for doing red. So I'll be dotting the eyes with white and then putting Berserker Blade straight on, because it's got kind of a purplish tone to it as well, which works really well with green. It's the old joke of purple orcs being really stealthy. If you use purple, this is a top tip actually, if you use purple as your base tone for your orcs and paint the green over the top, you get some really nice deep shadows and interesting colour. And it doesn't actually sell as purple, even though you can clearly see there's purple on there. It's a little bit of colour theory trickery for you. So now you know that, Mick, you can repaint that orc armour, yeah? I'll get out a test miniature and be like, oh yeah! That'll be another month of his life consumed. There we go. Right. I'm doing these out of sequence and it's upsetting me now. Right. Ooh, tick tock goes the clock. So I might have to come back to these. Deathwatch. Oh yeah, them. No, I haven't really got any tips for them. That's painting black, and I struggle with them. I struggle with painting black, I will freely admit. The only tip I can really offer for painting black is don't paint it black. As bonkers as that sounds, a good idea, I mean, if you've got any of these things based, is to have a look at what's the predominant colour of your base. So like, I don't know, if you've done Mars or something like that, and try and reflect a little bit of that colour, just a touch, on the black armour, particularly if it's shiny black armour. Because shiny black armour will always reflect a lot of the colour around it. It's like white as well. White is very seldom actually white. It'll be white with a touch of whatever is going on around it, because it will pick up colour and reflected light and all sorts of stuff. And your black will end up looking an awful lot blacker. Fun fact in fact, you know how the Dark Angels are green, and that is supposed, yeah, White Scars are fun to paint, and that is supposed to be a nod to, I think it's supposed to be a nod to Caliban in lore, because they used to be black. It actually has nothing to do with law. It was a steady drift into heavier and heavier green highlights on black armour over successive studio painters. That is why Dark Angels are green. They started off black, and then it was black with a slight green highlight, and that green highlight just got heavier and heavier and heavier. Especially in the 90s, when early 90s, when heavy highlights were de rigueur. That's where they really made this shift. So there we go. You come here, you get educated. Lamenters are also cool. I have to dig out my yellow recipe, which was remarkably simple. In fact, I mean, you can't go far wrong with the Imperial with contrast, really. Stick that down as a base coat, and then get some either Cassandora yellow or Fuegan orange, or both, and use those to shade, and that works really well. The other thing you can do is get this stuff and dilute it down a load and pin shade with that. You get a... Oh, I did have a model around somewhere. It's not to hand. You get a much more grimy, industrial, war-torn yellow doing something like that. So it depends on your style. If you're going clean, then use the Cassandora yellow and Fuegan orange. Well, I will tell you for free that yellow really does take weathering really well. It looks super cool. Decide what I'm doing about these tentacles now. I think I might do a bit of blending. Clean, yeah, that's valid. There are people out there doing sheets of Lamenters decals as well for the shoulders, including the check patterns. I mean, you're a brave man if you're going to do that freehand, because checks are not fun. But yeah, there are people that do the transfers and things. And if you've got access to a printer, I recommend getting some transfer paper and printing your own transfers. Titan font. Oh, that thing, yes. That looks like a lot of fun. I think that's Grey Knights in the foreground in that one, isn't it? I can never quite remember. I think it's Grey Knights with a big sort of Titanic elephant in the background. Some Games Workshop art. I'm not even sure it's official Games Workshop art, but it's very cool, whatever it is. Right, okay. So that's, I've just watered that down a little bit. just going over the tips, just the tips. A bit more water. This is literally just water now, and we're using the paint that's already on there just to sort of blend that in and create a nice gradient. Contrasts are fantastic for creating color, transitions from one colour to another as well. They blend together really, really well, wet blending style. Which is essentially what I'm doing here, but one of the colours is dry. Again, whilst it's still wet, avoid the brush. Just water going on, and just using the paint that's already on there, and blurring the transition to create that blend. Permission to post image? Sure, if you can find a way. I don't think I don't think there's anything that's going to let you do that. I mean, you could probably post a link to it, I guess. Ooh, I'm discovering things. Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. So yeah, right at the end of my live stream, I discover something. A little bit of this Luxon purple, watered down to a wash, just in the deepest recesses of even this sort of blue here. Creates a nice, really subtle shade, which is too subtle to show up on the camera. So that's really helpful. But believe me, it's good. Alright, just realised your mouth isn't blood shaded. There we go. I think we're going to have to come back to these next week, because I am running out of time and I have to be up severely early for work in the morning, unfortunately. Yeah, but they're getting there, and like I say, we're getting on to the point where I'm going to need metallics, and once the metallics start going on, that's all that fiddly little filigree nonsense going on there, and that is going to take time. There is no way. No way. I'm doing that tonight. No way. Well, I hope you got a little bit of inspiration from that. And I know what I will show you before I go. And that is where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Right. Okay. Yeah. This stuff. Probably can just see comes out as a sort of pearlescent white colour there, and where is a nice surface to go on that shield? Maybe just slap that on. This stuff's designed to go on over black, gloss black paint, but it can go on over anything, and it gives a nice sort of pearlescent, shifty kind of finish to it. I mean, you saw this on the Skyfires, but this is how easy it is to do. Just dab it on that. And you get a weird shifty glowy effect, and it also looks really cool on the armour. Paint that straight on over. Yeah, the turquoise one's cool, but the weapons are already weapons and armor are already turquoise on this, so I wanted something that was going to add a little extra color and weirdness to the armor. Love these color shift paints. I'm quite loyal to the Green Stuff World brand when it comes to colour shift paints. Well, a lot of paints actually, and effects paints. But Turbo Dork do colour shift paints. I think Vallejo now have a range. I don't think AP do, but I wouldn't be surprised if one comes out soon. But you can see that just boom, instant chaos. Great stuff. A1? Oh, you mean, yeah, Green Stuff World. Yeah, it's fantastic stuff. I use them for a lot of my acrylic effects, but enamel effects I tend to go for AK and MIG and things like that. Right, I am going to leave it there. Thanks ever so much for dropping by. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, that would be fantastic if you could find your way to do that. Richie, I noticed you've subscribed. Thanks very much. Yeah, if you want to like and subscribe and do all that good stuff, I will be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I shall see you all then. Ta-ta for now.